Okay, good morning. Sorry, the headmaster will be a little late this morning, so she asked me to introduce our speaker. Okay, a couple things. I see right now looking down. Once school starts, you can wear your regular jacket going over to UB campus, you wear your regular jacket before school, after school, but during school, we have to have, if you're going to wear a jacket or you're going to wear a sweater, it has to be black. Black sweater, black coat. So I'm seeing some white ones here. I'm seeing some fluorescent orange ones. Those are not correct, okay? So once school starts, you have to purchase a blue sweater, a black sweater, black overcoat, something of that nature, all right? Okay, so we're going to continue today with the theme of character education this year has been world religions. It really reflects the idea that there's a variety of religions in the world. There's a remarkable concordance in a number of their principles and precepts. For example, the golden rule in Christianity, whatever you wish that others would do to you, do so to them, which is also known as the silver rule in Confucianism. Do not do to others what you do not want to do to them to do to you. It's found quite similar in scriptures of most, if not all, religions. Those include Christianity, Hinduism, Buddhism, Islam, Judaism, Jainism, etc. Religions generally share a number of commonalities. For example, what constitutes ethical versus wrong behavior? On this basis, Mrs. Keiss has asked the teachers to each present a different religion during the course of the school year. So today we have Mr. Swartz to come up and present a short overview in terms of Hinduism. Mr. Swartz.
Hello! Hi, how's everyone doing this morning? If I pull this out, is it going to get very, very scared and stop working? You know me, I'm not going to be able to stand here on this podium this entire time. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about Hinduism. A little bit of a fun fact before we get started. Who here actually knows a Hindu? Not a lot of hands. That's pretty shocking. Does anyone know why that's shocking to see so few hands? Anyone want to wager a guess? Becker? Well, that's true. I said, why is it shocking, though, that not many people seem to know anyone that, practices Hinduism? These are not answering why it would be shocking. These are saying why you're explaining why it could happen. One last try. Let's go ahead. It's not the biggest, but it is the third biggest religion in the entire world. And I'm going to be focusing on one very common principle. Now, you guys probably once heard of a little guy, just one person who just so happened to do a little thing, but his name was Mahatma. Does anyone know who Mahatma Gandhi is? Very good. Mahatma Gandhi practiced a concept known as nonviolence. And that's actually what I'm going to be talking a little bit about today. Now, nonviolence actually does have a name. It's known as ahimsa. Ahimsa. Awesome. Now, ahimsa is the focus on the consequences of actions. You see, in Hinduism, they believe that every single person has a part of the divine spirit of, the being that created the entire universe. And so if you hurt or inflict pain upon another person, you're also in turn inflicting pain upon yourself and everyone in the world around you. Now, this includes ahimsa's principle of nonviolence. Now, it should be noted that ahimsa goes much further than just don't hit people. So I know you're very excited for that, Marco, but don't do it, okay? It's not very Hindu. You see, you're a pacifist by your hands, right? But ahimsa is also pacifism by thoughts and words. It goes much further. It wants you to understand that your actions and their consequences have greater influence in the world. Now, while ahimsa does state that violence should be avoided, it wants you to focus on other avenues of reconciliation. However, I really wanted to focus on this idea that just because you want to be perfect in your actions does not mean that you should always avoid violence. After all, what happens if, say, someone walks up to you with a knife and tries to take a stab at you? Self-defense is also a very crucial aspect of this. And so when we talk about ahimsa, understand that there are a lot of different views on this. As I like to say, in ahimsa, avoid cruelty and you are Gucci. That's my rhyme, so you can remember it. Now, ahimsa does want you to focus on the consequences of your actions, but it also wants you to understand what causes conflict in the first place. And so try to understand these key causes of violence: immaturity, assumptions, bias, and bigotry, and aggressive desire. Now, here's a question, Daniel, for you in the back. How could immaturity cause violence? Maybe they don't know what's right or wrong. Very good. Maybe they're just a little bit hopped up on young energy and they just sort of feel confrontational, right? What about assumptions, bias, and bigotry? What aspects of those could cause someone to inflict violence upon another person? Tom? Hey, you're not like me, so I hate you. Very good. Sometimes you have preconceived notions of another person. This prejudice or prejudgment could cause you to sort of say, hey, I feel uncomfortable with this other person around there, and I'm going to judge them before I have a chance to get to know them. And what about, finally, aggressive desires? Sam? Very good. You create a justification in your own head to cause suffering. Now remember, when we talk about violence, we're not just talking about physical violence here. We are still talking about this concept of emotional, word, and even thinking, violence. Now, obviously, I can't control the way people think. Some of you probably are thinking right now, gosh, Mr. Swartz, you are so handsome and smart, and I really appreciate that, okay? But what about aggressive desire? That's a weird one, right? It's a little bit harder to explain, to say aggressive desire. Donovan? Maybe it's the desire to cause theft. Maybe you really want something, and therefore it's going to be a little bit like, I want it, I'll take it, and I'll do what I want in order to get it. It gets even further than that, because you probably know the little bit of a stereotype of a hopped up frat boy who's like, what? You talking to me? You getting in my face? You causing problems? What? What are we doing, huh? Aggressive desire goes a little bit deeper. It's not just the root cause of aggression, but it's this sort of self-defense and pride as well. So when you're trying to think about things, try and focus on this concept known as self-reflection as an avenue to reconciliation. Self-reflection, looking at yourself and understanding, hey, hold on a second here. Am I contributing to this factor whatsoever? If I'm not, what aspects are causing this other person to cause violence? You probably had situations in your life where someone that you know is sitting there and going, well, I just really don't like you, David. Okay? And the fact that I don't like you is going to cause big problems. Sorry, I have a running gag where I call out David all the time. I don't know. I just appreciate you, David, and so that's why I feel like I'm comfortable doing that. We're cool? We're cool? You're not feeling socially pressured to say that we're cool? Okay. Now, so what you should do in any time that you're having a conflict, and I don't mean like a person jumping out with a knife, okay? And maybe it's a little bit late to stop, think, and try and reconcile your actions. But when a person is getting confrontational with you, when they're getting aggressive with you, when their body language changes a little bit and you're starting to get the feeling that they're getting a little bit hostile towards you, stop and breathe and ask yourself these three questions, okay? Why is this person doing this? Why am I doing this? And is violence going to be a real solution to this conflict? Donovan, if someone gets in your face and they start disrespecting your homies, are you going to punch them in the face? Why not? I'm asking you. Oh, it's not as extreme. You want to do something more extreme? Okay. He wants to jump kick them. Watch out for the kids with the crane kicks, okay? No, see, in a himza, generally you should want to avoid that as well. Now, why might it be bad if people are being confrontational with you? Why might it be bad to get disrespectful back to them? Zoe? De-escalation. Remember, what causes violence can be internal factors, right? And if you fight back, even though you could be completely justified in fighting back, what's going to happen if you fight back? Again, we're talking about if a person is being hostile to you. Like Donovan said, someone's disrespecting your homies, and so you start disrespecting them. What's going to happen? They might disrespect harder. Maybe it will evolve to physical violence. Maybe it'll get worse. What happens if you have a fight in a school? You can get suspended. You can have long-term consequences. Are you going to have a good relationship with the other people that you got involved in a fight with further down the line? If you have a fight with Josh today, that fight might last the entire year. Maybe it could last next year. And so even though it feels good, it feels justified to fight back, maybe you're causing more harm to yourself in the long run as well. And that's kind of the concept that Hinduism's precepts are talking about. And so try to remember, understand yourself and others first. In the Hindu religion, we are all connected. Hurting others also hurts ourselves, either physically or emotionally. So before you take a swing back, before you make fun of another person because they're wronging you, remember that in the long term, it's also going to hurt you almost just as much. Again, this does not apply to people jumping out with knives, stabbing people. All right, so thank you.
That was excellent. Thank you very much. I only have one announcement, unless the Student Council or National Honor Society or say any other announcements. Okay, so for those that want to take college courses, the University of Bridgeport registration begins today. I'm going to have a college course information session after school at 3:10. This is for those who have never signed up for a University of Bridgeport course or Housatonic Community College course. I'll explain it overall, and we'll begin to sign up for classes. Those that have already been taking UB courses or Housatonic courses, Housatonic sign-up has not started yet for the spring, but University of Bridgeport has. So you can begin to look up courses that you want to take in the spring and sign up. So at 3:10, 3:15, I'll hold a college information session for signing up for courses in the large computer lab, okay? Large computer lab. Okay, if there's nothing else, oh yes, you have something? Okay. Okay. So we have a half-day reminder on Friday. I don't know what the community service project is. Teachers will have professional development in the afternoon. Next Tuesday is election day. We have a half-day on election day. Some schools are out all day because they have the elections in the schools. We don't have an election in the school. Um, it's not one of the sites for elections, but we'd have a half-day, so teachers, whoever needs to go out and vote can be able to go out and vote. You mentioned about the daylight savings time. It's at least one more year the United States will have daylight savings time. Begins in March, ends in November sometime. This time it ends November 6th, okay, which is Sunday, November 6th. In the fall, clocks go back 1 hour. Okay, so at 2 o'clock in the morning, clocks move back to 1 o'clock in the morning, so you get an extra hour's sleep. Okay, the U.S. Senate did pass unanimously a law to be able to do away with the daylight savings time, but it has to be passed by the House of Representatives and has to be signed by the president. So we don't know if that'll happen or not. But if it happens, maybe this will be the last time we have well, in the spring it'll go back to daylight savings time, and then it'll stay that way. Okay, so we'll see. Anyway, that's a reminder about that coming up. Okay, very good. So have a good day. Thank you.